Greetings. My name is Charles Pang Chaplin. I am the creator of Chit Chat, and yes, you may call me Charlie Chaplin. I would like to clarify that that is Chaplin without an A. Without two A's. Only one A. Does that make sense? That's Chaplin with an I. No AI, just I. Kind of like the silent comedian. I am also a comedian. Not as silent as my predecessor, but nonetheless, I am just a human being human in a world where it's hard for me personally to see a human being speaking to us. And I know I hate to point fingers because they say if you've gone through the whole addiction rehab and perhaps the circulation or the exit of that. Either way, one of the things you learn going through rehab is that when you point a finger at someone or something, you have three fingers pointing back at you. And of course, there are some comedians who say that, and you got a one pointing up the sky. I mean, I don't know. I've rarely, it's been a millennia since anybody has just, like, I don't think this gesture, to each his own. Either way, I point my finger like this, which technically, I guess from this perspective, it looks like I got two fingers pointing at you. Okay? So then I always keep this visual metaphor just whenever I find my consciousness in this position. I always just remember, okay, what are the three fingers pointing back at me here? What are the two fingers, or perhaps just the one finger I'm pointing? If I'm shooting, what am I accusing? That's why I would never do this. If you're doing this, that's the wrong. Just put that trigger finger down. I just focus on this, okay? Because this is constantly being broadcasted amongst every microscopic community, meaning whether it's a religious community or just a state community, town community, individual friendships, that kind of community, or even the family unit community, but specifically also in the community of politics. Just all of these things. Each one will call it something, but it's the same thing. Politics calls it left versus right. Religious calls it spiritual warfare. Demons and then there are, just the fascists versus the domestic terrorists. It's just, there are so many of these that people are just literally, I guess, just boom. And I guess in this sense, it is literally like just some people blaming the Almighty Creator for just the state of affairs that we're in. If there is such a just God creator, then why would such a loving, just creator allow this? And by this, I mean just the not love that's going on that we all see and are fed. I hope we can be in agreement about that. I mean, this is just personally how I am feeling. I feel like diatribe would be a good word to try to issue this in, but I don't know how to really use it. It's a diatribe. This is my diatribe on just how we got here. And again, this message is for anyone, sentient or non-sentient, any corner, location on this plane we call Earth. But specifically, these next words are going to be geared towards my specific tribe, the people of the United States of America, to which I am native. I consider myself, and always have considered myself, a Native American ever since I was a little boy. And I remember the first time I ever was asked, like, which box do you check for race? I checked Native American. And my teachers, my school officials, it was a deal. They asked me, like, why did you check this? Only this. And, you know, this is elementary school. I can't specifically remember what grade. It was whatever. I just checked Native American, and they asked me why I checked that. And I told them because my father told me that I am different from him because he was born in South Korea, just like my mom. And both him and my mom immigrated to this country, the United States, where they had me, where I was born here, not in Korea. You know, I was born in America. So anybody who is born in America, my father told me, is American. No matter what anybody else says, you are American, son. Now, Americans can call me and your mom Asian and make fun of us for that, but if anyone tries to make fun of you like that, you tell them, I'm just like you. I am an American. I was born here. And so when I was looking at all the options, I know Native American means I was born in America. I'm a native born American. Just like the Indians were Native Americans because they were born in this country, and then the Pilgrims came to this country and we had Thanksgiving. Like, this is just my interpretation. This is when the teachers is just like, Charles, that is absolutely correct, and that's great. But whenever you see this, what they're asking you is this. So you can't check this box. But you're right. You are that box, but don't check that box, okay? They are looking for this. So I still check the Native American box. or other, and I put native. It's just, it was just so hypocritical. It was confusing. It was a confusing time, but I believed what my father told me. I eventually understood, I guess, the error of my ways back then. But it's just, that's what I believe. So even to this day, more than 30 years ago, I believe it, that anyone who is born here, it's not black or white or yellow or brown, it's native, and I guess just not native in our perspective, in our reference to the world. That's how we would probably, it's like, I grew up with a great man who had a great show with a great mission called Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. And I know my fellow millennials just know what that man meant to the world, at least the world that we knew of as little children watching him just reassure us and kind of guide us into the adult world, I guess is the best way I would put it. But he was an American programmer on public broadcasting in America, PBS, so the outside world didn't catch on to Mr. Rogers' work until we were far engulfed in it. And the world fell in love with him too. Even to this day, I see YouTube videos all the time, just like people crying. He was a great man. You know, anyone who disagrees with that is, I would call, I guess, and I rarely use this term to refer to anybody, but I would use this term, I guess, to refer to people who think Mr. Fred Rogers was an evil man as the devil or a demon. That's just pure darkness. And I hear these arguments like, oh, he was like this soldier who was just like a crazy, you know, just like the only reason a man would be that nice is because he's trying to cover up a very, very dark past. Which, if history has taught us anything, that is true. But that shouldn't negate the 0.01% chance of the possibility of this man breaking that shell in the mind of somebody who is just looking at everybody in that filter of darkness. No matter what light they bring, they just filter it into darkness. I guess that's the best way I can put it. And this is why, at 40 years old, I am just still looking at divide. Left, right, black, white still. Good, evil, MAGA versus, it's just Democrat versus Republican. Christian, non-Christian. It's getting out of control. Even LGBTQ. You know, as much as I'm for it, there's a lot of holes in this ideology. Which, in society today, especially if you are somebody who is seeking political office or holding a seat in political office, is really too I don't know the word, you fill in the blank, is to say this is, are you feeling that blank there? It's, I hear this. And I ask myself, back to normal? What normal is she referring to go back to? The normal that led us all up to here? This is why this particular cry, we beg for things to go back to normal when the rule of law mattered. It's that kind of rhetoric that signifies to me that this woman is admitting either I don't know. She's telling it to us, but she's really, this is the three ego, id, super ego, just coming. We're begging. We are begging. Our three personalities are begging for things to go back to normal. Why? Because when it was normal, it was just easier to be a politician. But anybody who is a politician still and trying to be a politician in this next round of human history, who find themselves just clinging for the day that things go back to normal. You, unfortunately, are the demographic who is essentially the most highly susceptible of getting left behind. So, I don't know. As a chaplain, I am here creating this Chit Chat channel to point out just the battles I'm seeing revealed in the media that everybody who, has a phone or goes on social media has the same access to the same information I'm finding. I'm just presenting the information I'm seeking out to bring forth to all of you who watch and subscribe and comment and do whatever it is to just show me that we are communicating or interacting. I got almost 30 subscribers. So that's great. Those of you who are subscribed non-publicly, I can't publicly thank you, but my public subscribers, and whoever, if you're watching this, thank you for getting up to this point. But like I said, I created this channel. I've become a chaplain for a specific reason. Back then, when all this was happening, I didn't know what that reason specifically was, especially when my parents were asking, like, why are you doing comedy? And then, so thankfully, by the grace of God and just patience, the virtue of patience has led me to this moment where I am creating this message, speaking to you, declaring that I have come to bring peace. Not just peace in the United States or peace in the Middle East, but peace to both those places and then the rest of the world. It's just, I'm not left or right, I'm light. I'm not a Democrat, I'm not a Republican. I'm a Democratic Republican. I'm not Asian American, I'm an American Asian, aka Native American. It's just these identities that I hear my fellow citizens just so quickly, unconsciously, just cling to, and just, it's like a methodical actor that just says, I'm going to just completely engulf myself in this character just by hearing, like, yeah, I'm a whatever, Republican, or I'm a deplorable. So, with that said, where did this term deplorable come into my light? And so that is what my mission, I guess, is. I've been called deplorable. I've still been, it never ends. But there is just people I see acting just deplorable and more deplorable that now it's become explorable for me. So, again, this is just kind of an update on just who I am, the creator behind this channel, Chit, Chat. A little bit on just why I'm creating this, but again, there's so many different little Easter eggs within this, my whole creations that I just don't want to reveal right now, but those are the big ones because, again, I am seeking support from my fellow Americans who truly are begging for things not to go back to normal, but to get better straight, to make us just one again, to bridge this divide. I think the only role set up to succeed in doing that for us as a country that calls itself the United States has to be a Chaplin. And this is why I, Charlie Pang Chaplin, ask for your support in a new fashion, not with monetary contributions or campaign fundraising. I figured out how to get over all these paths that lead and have led these politicians today into some of the corruption they may have fallen into, even unknowingly, which I'm going to point out in the next episode. Perhaps episodes. Like I said, I have a carrot to bridge this divide within my country, the United States of America, to which I will then expect that effort to expand and expand, just like I know it does. This is the laws of nature. And nature's God. And my God is a loving God. There is no fear in my God. Because perfect love casts out fear. And I am still so grateful to whoever, God, Jesus Christ, Allah, that is just responsible for placing my soul in this vessel that came out of the vessels that I call my parents, that just continuously has just been a blessing for any human being to come into this world having. And not everybody has that. And I acknowledge that. I'm aware of that. But at 40 years old, I don't feel it's necessary for me to try to be humble and be someone who feels guilty for just expressing that gratitude. I paid my dues. Now at 40, I'm going to come off pretty, perhaps narcissistic, grandiose, whatever. Some may just call me it, but I'm not. Although my dad's name is Ick and my mom's name is Ill. There's just the love story between Ick and Ill that I could tell America is one I hope that you would want to hear. So if you made it this far and you want to hear it, please just comment, say, let me hear that story. Or please help me see clearer on whatever personal issue. I'm here to build individual relationships in this mass sea of people. This is how I want to encourage other people to get in the habit of doing this, because this is the future of communicating. It's getting on your phone and making just like a video chat where you're having one-on-one, or you foresee a chat in the future like I'm having with you right now. So tell me about yourself. I want to know what brought you here. What did you search? What did you take away from this? What did you not take away from this? What do you disagree with? I want to know what you're consciously flicking on and off, listening to the light, and it is light, being beamed on you right here. So now that that's said, just know that I am here for you. You are not alone, and just whatever you need, if you just know how to ask, or where to ask, or who to ask, you'll get those questions that you ask answered, or at least get you on a path towards answering those perhaps very deep life questions, like what is God, in your own hands, rather than me just telling you straight up, which I'm about to do. I'm getting tired of this, so just know that that's a warning. The straw is broken, where I'm just going to lay it down. And if you find yourself, I was totally off, that's going to be a huge thing. I don't want to do that, but this is what I foresee. And you don't know what I'm talking about. Just know that I already had that conversation planned for us. So just keep watching and keep interacting with me. You know, just go on your YouTube thing. If you're watching this without an account, stop. Okay? Just link your email account to your YouTube account. I don't know why you haven't done it yet, but just make this you, you know? Just show the world what you like, what you subscribe to, what you're watching, what you're creating. You know, TikTok is it's not the same thing, but it is the same. You know, like YouTube is the OG. YouTube is my go-to. Just like all the things that people say are untrustworthy. It's just, again, the hypocrisy of the birth of democracy is something I feel like I could do an HBO special about. But I put my comedy days behind me. But I plan to kind of pepper in my comedy days in my campaign platform, which again, if I'm going to try to eliminate the corruption that we constantly hear, see, and fall victims of time after time, after every transfer of power between our own leaders that just takes us one step forward or one step backward. I'm sick of taking our country in a direction where literally it just seems like we're in a rocking chair. It used to be perhaps maybe, I don't know, like on crutches, but now it's just a rocking chair. We're just going back and forth, not going anywhere. And that's really, really unacceptable for me, who just had a nephew who is Generation Alpha. It's the Alpha Omega. This is the beginning of the next. And I don't want any generation to fall victim behind what the millennials have done. I feel that my fellow millennials, it's our duty to just stand up to our parents and our elders and be like, look, it's our time. This is our time. Up there, that's your time. Your time. Down here. Goonies. I hope they never remake that movie. But again, I hope that this introduction just kind of helps people who are just kind of tuning into this part of me, the Chit Chat C cubed, as I call it. Just a better perspective and perception of personally what I, the creator, am creating and intending to create in this. So I hope you stay tuned and remain blessed.